Everyone from the president to the candidates on the campaign trail to policymakers in Europe are talking about jobs and job creation. When you look at entrepreneurship, what role does it play in job creation?
Well, it's a really, really good question because it really is top of the mind in the policy dialogue and, of course, in the politics these days. And it should be top of mind because there is a big, big shortage of jobs in the United States, in Western Europe, Southern Europe, and, by the way, in the Middle East as well, MENA. And some things are known about the relationship between entrepreneurship, but a lot of things still aren't known yet. And there's some things that are known that are not right. In other words, there are things that are believed that are not supported by the data. So the notion that small companies create jobs is not accurate. There's very strong evidence now that there is no relationship between size of company and whether or not they create jobs. So that's been assumed and it's stated from time to time, but it's a misstatement. It turns out that it's the young companies that create the jobs, not necessarily the small companies. So for example, small old companies do not create jobs. Small young companies and large young companies are the ones creating jobs. So that's the second. Third is the young companies are also destroying jobs. The net is positive, but young companies, when you look at job destruction, they're also disproportionately accountable for job destruction, the loss of jobs. The net is positive. That's where our knowledge more or less ends. Because what we don't know is what kinds of young companies are creating the jobs. We don't know, for example, if it's really ambitious entrepreneurial companies or just young small companies that are creating the jobs. We don't know, for example, whether there's an even or random distribution among these young companies in terms of how many jobs they create. I strongly suspect, although again, I have not yet seen the research, nor do I think there is the evidence. I think we need to do that study, which says that a very, very small percentage of young companies are creating, by far, the largest percentage of net jobs. It's what we call a Pareto distribution. So, and if that's true, it has very important policy implications. Because if you think that young companies randomly create jobs, startups randomly create jobs, then what you should do is create lots and lots of startups, let the ones that succeed, succeed, let the ones that fail, fail. The result will be the net creation of jobs. And that leads to policies such as business credits for angel investors or tax credits for angel investors. Tax credit plans have been in existence for about 17 years in the United Kingdom. They've been in existence in several states, and now several dozen states in the United States have tax credit schemes for angel investors. Israel is bringing online a tax credit scheme. Turkey is legislating a tax credit scheme, again, for angel investors. And those will work if we think the distribution is random. But if the distribution isn't random, if a very, very small number of firms, and we can find out what kinds of firms are creating most of the jobs, well, that maybe the tax credit schemes are not such a good idea. Maybe they're wasteful. We just don't know the answer to that question yet. I think that's something that we should work hard to find out.